Hey, here it is. Here I go. Um, I am going to get right into it. This is a vinyl update for you. I have a huge one here. I have a lot to show you, but I'm going to try to make this, well, you know how it goes. The first thing I'm going to show you is stuff I picked up at the Sarasota Record show. And then I'm going to show you what I picked up for my birthday. Some of these are gifts, some are not. And go from there. I have a lot of cassettes to show you in this one. It's crazy. And some CDs as well. I'll put that over there because I had that with that one. There's a few box sets today, CD wise, and a bunch of cassettes. A bunch of these. I'll show you those in a second here. I'm going to kind of go through these as quick as possible. And I am going to show you all the cassettes and CDs separately, because I want to show you what I picked up from Sarasota. So the Sarasota Record Show was part of their radio station, WSRD, I think it was, had a record show in Fogartyville, and it was at this venue, live venue, and it was fucking dreamy. For anybody who likes to buy stuff cheap like I do, this was a dream come true. Like, I was like, I couldn't believe how much fun I had and how great it was. So let's just get into it. You could hear all that. One VHS tape, Led Zeppelin, songs remain the same. So yes, it was my birthday the previous weekend, and it was a great birthday, but then I got sick. Not this weekend, but the previous weekend. But anyways, sealed copy of the song remains the same. I don't have much to say about this. It's a classic album by Led Zeppelin, don't you think? Or classic, well, live concert film. 4/4. I'll take that. Alright, let's get into the cassettes. I got a lot to show you. I'm going to have to go through these fairly quickly because I got so many to show you. It's crazy how many cassettes I have. I must have picked up at least 20 there. In no particular order, I will show you these. Just kind of go through and show them to you as I have them. Opera Sauvage, Vangelis. Why not? Why not Vangelis, right? So, hold on. So this is, his '79 release, and almost predates Blade Runner, the soundtrack, by a few years, and this is absolutely wonderful. I have nothing but good things to say about this. It does have a little bit of that new age futuristic thing going on in it, by Vangelis. This came out in '79. A few good tracks on here, L'Enfant and Him. So pretty cool. I gotta kind of go through these fast because I got so many of them. Roxy Music, Manifesto. These were all $1 a piece. $1. When I said that Led Zeppelin was a quarter, that was not a quarter, it was $1. So this was $1 as well. Manifesto, Roxy Music. 1979 release. And this album does not get a lot of love. But I like it. It's funky. It's got some disco elements. I like that kind of later stuff that Roxy Music was doing, even up to Avalon, Flesh and Blood, those albums. I like pretty much everything this band's done. So, but this is not, for those art rock connoisseurs, they're probably not going to like this one, but pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, this is pretty cool. And then I'm going to show you a bunch of cassettes here that are just insane. This is Bernard Herrmann's soundtrack score to Vertigo. Pretty cool to have that, a film score, and Bernard Herrmann nonetheless on cassette. Pretty sweet. Once again, $1. Like, this is insane. I think I paid maybe $8 for the most expensive thing here, that from the Sarasota Record Show. It's nuts how cheap it was. I was like in heaven. I think probably 100 and some bucks, and I got all this stuff for about 100. Trying to put these in order. Soka Ninja Turtles by Ross Eiley. Ross Eiley. This came out in 91. So Soka Ninja Turtles. I believe he's a calypso singer, Ross Eiley, or Ray Ailey, or whatever, how you want to say his name, Ray Ailey, Ross Eiley, whatever. But I think this is like calypso music, probably with some club elements, some dance elements from the early '90s, I would guess. So pretty cool. It had Ninja Turtles on it. This does not have the end part of it, but it is Ambitious Lovers, and this is Greed, a wonderful record. I think this is off the Virgin label, 1987 release. Peter Scherer, the guy with the long hair, and if you guys know that face, some of you might, if you're from New York, that's Arto Lindsay, who was in his own New York no wave band DNA, and this is his project with Peter Scherer. Scherer, I don't know how to say his name, and this is kind of like quirky, sort of strange indie pop, maybe. Definitely still a little bit of experimental, but not as much. Really, really awesome stuff. Yeah, Ambitious Lovers. This is cool. This album goes for a lot of money, so to get this. I think this is an industrial band from Germany. This is Instruction. Instruction. Look at this cassette. I love this kind of shit. Beat up cassettes. Man, I fucking rule my world. I believe this is like experimental industrial noise. I do got some 45s I got to show you too. I got so much shit to show you. I should do a two-parter for this, but I probably won't. The Tapeworms, Listen. I don't know anything about this. I think this is based out of Seattle. I think it's probably in the experimental noise stuff. If anybody knows the Tapeworms. There's a few bands with the name, but based on the time this was released, which I think was in the 80s, I didn't really proffer up or offer an explanation for this release specifically, because I saw some bands called the Tapeworms or Tapeworms, and they were kind of more current bands or bands in the 90s. And I think this band came out. This was recorded. This is like noise, audio collages. So, like I said, be interesting stuff. I love this cover to this. So, and Fire and Faster with After the Acid Rain. This is metal from the Northwest. I want to say these guys are from either Portland or Seattle. 1983 release, and it's got I think a little. It's like a traditional metal with just a little bit of a doom edge to it, I believe. A metal cassette, pretty cool. Fire and Faster. And the name of the cassette is After the Acid Rain. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I love cassettes. I would like to just do a cassette pickup show. And that's all I showed was cassettes. More cassettes for you coming your way. A lot more coming your way. I'm going to just try to knock these out. PJ Harvey. To Bring You My Love. So one of her studio albums from the 90s. Pretty austere from what I remember. Pretty kind of mellow and serene stuff by her. But obviously with an intensity that no one knows quite like her. So, like PJ Harvey. I'll show that one last. Bill Frisell, This Land. This is a 1984 release on the Elektra Nonesuch label, which is really cool to get a Nonesuch on fucking cassette. Jazz guitarist, kind of falls almost into the avant-garde kind of vein. It's almost like something that ECM would do, but it also feels like there's some. I don't know if he worked with like John Zorn or not John Zorn, like Bill Laswell or Fred Frith. But it's got that kind of like almost avant-garde kind of feel to it, but it's jazz. So Bill Frisell. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's really cool to find a Bill Frisell for like cheap. Two by this wonderful band from, I believe these guys are they from England? I believe they are. This is the Lilac Time with Paradise Circus. So this came out in 1989 on the Fontana label, Polygram Fontana. You probably can't see those. Yeah. Britpop. Obviously, this has got like a very mellow, sort of serene kind of feel to it, aka like a Smiths kind of thing, but not quite like them. Kind of dreamy in a way. Like I said, pretty. It's like dream pop almost, but it's got that Britpop sensibility to it as well. So it's like someplace between where, like, what's that band called, The Great South, and like James, kind of merging both styles. This is pretty good. This one by them is much better. This is the Lilac Time with Love and All. Love for All. I really think this is really catchy, very melodic, very poppy sounding. And this one agreed with me a little bit more. 1990 release off the Polygram Fontana label. So I like this group. I don't really know a lot about them. I've had stuff by them in the past. As you can see, there's $1 right there. Yeah, see, $1. So yeah, I'm trying to get these done. I got so much to show. So much to show, so little time before I show the end. Kissing the Pink, Naked. I think the first album by this band, British band that are synth pop / new wave. They kind of went more down the direction of like dance, synth dance pop, but like almost like Erasure-ish. But this earlier stuff is straight up synth pop. There's always I think there's always kind of a dance. There's like a groove to this band, but they're always going to be in that synth pop realm. They did get more dancey as they went along, and they changed their name to KTP, obviously, because Kissing the Pink is inappropriate. We wouldn't want anything inappropriate in this world. This is a soundtrack, which I think is pretty cool, and I don't know, and it's all in subtitles. The Blue Fox. Isn't that awesome? Look at that, and it's all in Chinese or Asian or Korean. I don't know what the dialect to this is, but this is a soundtrack to a movie, it looks like. Yeah. So, soundtrack to the film The Blue Fox. Pretty cool. Millions of Bugs. Pop punk from 1982. Interesting thing about this had a member of the band named Pip McCaslin. Pip, I used to love to say that. McCaslin, and he was a kind of an audiophile nut, and he started his own like cassette production company where he was recording and releasing or distributing cassettes, which is cool, you know. And this was, I think these guys are from Seattle. I think this is like sub pop territory kind of thing, but they're only doing cassette only, I think. And I can't remember the name of the label. It was like Cassette Recording Studios or something, like very bland. But Pip McCaslin, who runs that, was in Millions of Bugs. And this is like catchy pop punk for 1982. Like pop punk in 92 sounded a hell of a lot different than 1992, so I'm fine with that. Here's another Northwestern band, I think Portland, Seattle area. And I think this is kind of like weird indie folk. This is Winnie's Happy Accident. I love the cover of that. Look at that. That cow does not want any part of. Look at that. I think this is like neo-folk kind of experimental stuff. It's from the Bovine productions, which can get into experimental territories. So it's Winnie's Perspective and Winnie's Happy Accident. So no, kind of experimental maybe, but with some folky elements to it too, from what I can remember. If anybody knows Winnie's Perspective or Winnie's Happy Accident, let me know. Ooh, strange name. I believe this is kind of in that punk, noisy punk stuff, or maybe just noise. I hate to say that because I don't remember, but this is Sorry Camp. And yeah, this is noise. It's two people. One has a sax and the other has drums and guitar. And it's this four EP thing. Sorry Camp. I think these guys are from San Francisco. So from the 80s, 90s. I mean, they had a ton of these cassettes there, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I wanted to buy them all. Brian Eno, Nerve Net. This is cool. 1980. No, this is 90s. Brian Eno. I'll come running to tie your shoes. 1999, 92. An album that was pretty maligned when it came out by critics. They didn't really like it, you know. But I think some of it's kind of funky. It definitely feels like a New York thing, kind of like Bill Laswell, kind of. There's Bill Laswell name again. Fred Frith, you know, those kind of guys. Bill Frisell, in that sort of, but I guess maybe in the avant-garde thing, but also in that funk thing that Bill Laswell could do. I like this by Brian Eno, and it was, like I said, $1. You don't see Brian Eno cassettes for $1 anywhere. I don't know anything about this. I think this is experimental too, because it's off the Akashic label from 1982. This is Giant Ears Listen In at Dawn with Radio Moscow. So Radio Moscow being the album, not the band. The band is Giant Ears Listen In at Dawn. And I think this is experimental noise stuff too. So I'm so fucking excited to get listened to all these. I love noise experimental stuff. And the last but not the least, this one I'm very excited about. This is Vita Nova International. And this is a compilation from France with a bunch of different noise artists on there. Look at that. Let's see if you can see that. There is Nurse with Wound. There is Savage Republic, who are awesome. There is Bruno Cassano, Attente Donnes, Deviation Social, Victor Nubla. This thing is awesome. Experimental noise stuff. Let's see, Angst and Die Todesliche Doris. Really excited to have this in my cassette collection. I will listen to this one quite a bit. I love Nurse with Wound, love Savage Republic. This is right up my alley. Experimental, some of it almost even borderlining sound collage stuff, some of it being kind of rougher industrial sounding. It's kind of like all these acts are all like Victor Rubla or Nubla is really fucking like soundscapes, sounds collages, very with some abrupt dissonance in it. So all these are different but really cool. So that is it for the cassettes. I told you we'd get through those quick, and I'll show you the CDs I got, and then I'll show you the records I got from Sarasota. So we're doing good on this, as long as I go in time here. Great Argentinian composers and musicians. That's right, great Argentinian composers and musicians. I love like Argentinian music. There's something about it that I think is quite wonderful and beautiful. And this is like, I believe, classical people. Alberto Williams, Carlos Guastavino, Alberto Ginastera, and then these are all like sonatas and cello concertos. It's classical music, but I'm really fucking happy to get something like this because I don't know any of these world composers, you know. So this is really cool. This was $1 out the door. So Argentinian classical music, really cool. Dr. Dream Records. Look at this one, compilation. Um, a California label with a bunch of weird bands on here. Paul Kelly and the Messengers, Cadillac Tramps, Swamp Zombies, Don't Mean Maybe, Christy McCool, Joyride. Swamp Zombies is like a lot of fun, kind of like garage rock. But I don't know the rest of these, and this was total blind buy. If anybody knows Dr. Dream Records, let me know, because I don't know anything about this label. So I'm excited to dig into it. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. Once again, all CDs $1. I mean, I don't really need to go into this. I have this. I bought another copy because I thought, fucking why not? 1975 release. Yeah, I mean, this classic record's got this doesn't have a cigar on it. Why am I thinking Have Cigar is on here? Have a Cigar is on here. Shine On You, Crazy Diamond, Wish You Were Here, Walking the Machine. Long songs on here, very progressive. Very dark. This is a very dark album too, and kind of depressing. I got a few from the band Love Lost. This is on Sundays for $1. I was like, fuck yeah. 2009 release by the wonderful LA band, and this is a compilation of early Love recordings that didn't make the cut. They weren't released to vinyl. I just thought this was really cool to get. I love Sundays. Anytime I see something on Sundays, I pick it up. So, and then this is really awesome, and I wish I had this on the original studio album on even on CD. But Love, and this is them singing the Forever Changes concert. This was recorded live in the early 2000s when Love kind of made a resurgence, and this has Arthur Lee, I think, is in this. Byron McLean is in this, and they're pretty much performing Forever Changes all the way through, which is really cool. And it still sounds good. Arthur Lee sounds great. So, yeah, they got back together. I don't know if all the other members of Love was in this or not, but, you know, one of the great California bands, other time, I think. Hollywood bands. I think they're from Hollywood. Love was great. Yep, and we're on that LA thing. Let's stay with the Birds, Notorious Bird Brothers. This is fucking great record by them. This is one I like a lot, but I've had problems really getting into it because it doesn't have the same sort of jangle country rock feel. It does and it doesn't, and it's got a lot of like psych feel to it. It's a very kind of unencumbering record for these guys in the best possible way. This is the one I feel like I detach to the most when it comes to the Birds, but I still like it. It's got like artificial energy on it, and Dolphin Smile. Pretty cool. Yeah, we're on a rhythm roll right here, and this one is really cool. Phil Lesh and His Friends, 2006 release off the Cygnus label, Instantly Live. So this has John Scofield, Larry Campbell, Joan Osborne. What if God was one of us? John Mullo and Rob Picaro, and I don't know who those people are, but Phil Lesh, of course, played in the Grateful Dead. This one looks like it's a double CD, and it is sealed, and it says it was recorded live in Tampa. So, Grateful Dead stuff, probably jam bandy-ish. That would be a huge and probably really good guess. These albums I all picked up fairly. A lot of these were $1, and so I'm going to kind of go through these fast. These were all from the Sarasota Record Show. The one I'm going to show you at the bottom is the one that I probably cost me the most, because when you buy box sets, they seem to cost. They counted the records inside, so some of these were. This one was like $8, but because I think it's a 4 CD set, but everything else is pretty good. So we can go through these real quick. I'm sorry. Oh, Cooper Moore. Here's another cassette that was hidden. It was like right underneath my feet. New York artist, kind of. I'm not sure how you would describe this. He makes his own instruments. He lives in Virginia originally, or he's from Virginia originally, but makes his own instruments. Kind of progressive bluegrass folkish stuff. Cooper Moore, pretty cool. But yeah, the guy Cooper Moore makes his own instruments, and you can see what's that, man. That was just hidden underneath there. So, but yeah, let's get into the albums. This is Francois Couperin. This is the organ du Roi. This is the second Bier de Clavecin, performed by Kenneth Gilbert, and it's on the Harmonio Mundi label, which is a killer classical label. Francois Couperin, or Couperu, or however they say his name, Couperin. You could say how it spells. I don't fucking know. He was a harpsichord player and was one of France's best known composers at his time. This is Baroque music from the late 1600s. Baroque classical music, and you got four albums here on the wonderful Harmonia Mundi label, which you can see right there. Classical music, Baroque music. I just saw it was on Harmonia Mundi, and I was like, fuck yes, I'm on board with this. So this one was $4. No, this was I think $2, but they were trying to price this at like $45. I'm like, I'm not paying $45 for this. So I had a battle between the people who were selling it and the people who were checking this out, and the people who sold it said no, it's $1. So I got this for $1. The Yardbirds. I wasn't gonna pay $40 for this, even though I love this band. Featuring performances by Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, and Jimmy Page. Yardbirds compilation. I love this band. I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to probably sell this, and most of these albums were like tip top. They were in like great shape. So on the Epic label. So I should be recording this because I have to work early in the morning, but yeah, I'm so stupid when it comes to this shit. I'm like, I gotta get it done, and because I don't want to do it tomorrow, so I'm doing it tonight. So the Yardbirds, yeah, I got a second surge of energy. So this is a greatest hit compilation. Yep, it's got Drinking Muddy Water, Train Kept a Rolling, What Do You Want, White Summer. The great song Little Games is on here. Really cool. Really cool. Beatles rarities. That's right, the rarities of the Beatles. Once again, this was like, I think they said this was $2, but I might have paid $2 or $1 for it. This is something my brother picked up. I'm going to be honest, if I was at this show, because he picked up a handful of these, and I didn't want to pay for. I like the Beatles, but I don't know if I would have bought this. Sorry, I needed a drink. This is a little club soda. All these club soda, these are like $4 a piece or something like that. $3 for a 6 can of these. So I'm indulging tonight with a club soda. Yeah, Beatles rarities. It's got that one thing that's cool on here. It's got the German version of I Want to Hold Your Hand, which is Komm, Gib mir den Hand. You know what? I don't know if you can see it, but yeah. I don't think these are all that rarities. It's got across the universe in This Boy, and these were recorded differently. Some of these songs, you know, like Matchbox, their cover of Matchbox. It's, you know, Beatles record's a Beatles record. This is 499-2139, a compilation. This looked cool. British bands. This is in the new wave kind of thing. New wave. Shit. I need to show you the 45s I picked up. But new wave, punk, power pop from the early 80s. And 499-2139 was a number you could call to try to get your band, like, played on the radio in England at that time. So, Lone Brothers, Wolf Boys, Escalators, Reefer, The Vi. These are all cool, kind of catchy new wave stuff. Some of this might be a little punkish, but mostly in that new wave power pop kind of realm. I thought it was cool to get. This is Vanished Misfortune with two guys who kind of make their own instruments. Malcolm Daglish, who I think works on dulcimers, and Gray Larson, who I think teaches music. One of the two teaches music, and the other one builds instruments. I love the cover to this. This is, and this third guy over here, I think he plays the accordion, maybe? His name is Michael Kennedy. But traditional folk, I like this stuff every now and then. I do. It's just really, really pretty music. Folk music, traditional folk music. So, and it's on the Juna Paul recordings from 1977. Juna Paul. Insect Surfers. This is Sonar Safari, and I don't know if what this is specifically, but this is a promo copy of an EP done by this long-standing surf rock instrumental band, which I think is kind of cool. The Insect Surfers, and I think these guys are from Virginia originally, and it's surf rock music. I mean, yeah. So this was kind of on their earlier kind of when they had come out. This is really kind of really cool. Just want to show you that. It's on black vinyl, so I'll take that out. Surf rock music from the Insect Surfers, Sonar Safari. Wipeout! Yorma Kakowin. I can never say his name right. Yorma Kakowin with Tom Hobson. This is wonderful. The album's called Qua. On the Grunt label, Tom Hobson has got a gorgeous, gorgeous voice. This is folk music. Yorma Kakowin played with the Jefferson Airplane and with Hot Tuna. This is folk music. It's really beautiful. Some of this is done so well that it's like sublimely, like almost avant-garde-ish, because it's done with like this sort of spiritualness to it. This thing is really actually kind of really fucking hard to find on CD, and I had it on CD, and they sold it, and I should have kept it because the CD actually has more value than the record. But on the Grunt label, it took forever for it to get on CD too. So one of Yorma Kakowin's more interesting records, kind of almost progressive folk in a way, acoustic, just great. Innocent Bystander. This is John Palumbo. This is a '78 release off the Lifesong label, and this is really completely and totally disappointing in every possible fucking way. I was really, really disappointed by this. So John Palumbo sang with Crack the Sky, and this is like, to me, he's got a great rock voice, but this to me is like him doing fucking Boss Skaggs. And I don't mean that as an insult because I like Boss Skaggs, but it certainly to me feels like an insult. Oh, this came in the record, so I'm just keeping it. I love it. Happy day, all my love, Alan. That stupid thing. It's just in the record. I'm going to keep it. Crack the Sky were a great progressive rock band, kind of art rock band from the 70s, and their best stuff was with John Palumbo on vocals. This is his first solo album, and like I said, this is like almost like fucking Boss Skaggs territory. It's like, yikes. Kind of pop rockish. This is Night of the Four Moons, Voice of the Whale, two pieces by the great composer George Crumb. I don't need to say a lot about Georgie Boy. It's already been said anyways. On the Masterworks label, classical avant-garde with some real minimalistic stuff, especially on Night of the Four Moons. It has like a soprano, and she's basically singing solo, but it's almost like she's singing like noise tracks or vocal effects instead of like opera. It's very strange. George Crumb, of course, worked with the Kronos Quartet doing the wonderfully bleak Black Angels, so I was on board ever since when I had heard Black Angels, which is nefarious in the classical music world because it's really fucked up sounding. So, and yeah, so it's avant-garde classical music. This is Morton Gold's Exploring the Digital Frontier on the Varice Sarabon label, which got me excited. But this is more like, sounds like the music from the original motion picture television series of Star Trek. It's Morton Gold was kind of easy listening. Did some, I believe, some film scores, but did a lot of his own like classical scores and stuff. It's kind of schmaltzy, but it was $3. I was just like, fuck it, I'll get it. You know, that's probably, that and the John Palumbo one are definitely the two of the bigger disappointments. This is not. Bootsy. Bootsy Collins. This is a this is late 80s, early 90s release by Bootsy's Rubber Band. This is Jungle Bass. It's fucking wonderful song by him. Funky, fucking great drum beats, very percussive, real awesome stuff by Bootsy Collins. There's like 4 songs on here. Disciples of Funk is great. Inner Zone is great. Jungle Bass is great. Funk, dance stuff. Maceo Parker's on here, playing the alto sax. Fred Wesley's on here playing trombone. Bernie Worrell doing synthesizers. This has got some good people on here. Bill Laswell, of course, that name I brought up earlier. He's a New York guy who did a lot of different kind of styles of music, but he really did this funk dance thing real well. Donna Summer, All Systems Go. This is great. Like, I was thinking about this. This is one my brother got for me, but I was really happy with this because I was expecting it to be, like, to be honest, shit, but it's actually really cool. It's kind of like her doing, like, Jody Watley or Taylor Dane or something. It sounds like 80s dance pop, but, you know, she was the queen of disco, and she's doing this, like, synth, soul, dance pop shit now. And it's actually pretty good. I mean, I love Donna Summer. I was really surprised. Like, it does sound dated. It does sound 80s sounding from the late 80s. 1987 this came out. The single on here was Dinner with Gershwin, which is a great song. There's a few real good songs on here. Fascination. Love Shock is great. That has almost like a rock feel to it. Bad Reputation. All Systems Go. But it's definitely a product of its time. I mean, look at her hair, for God's sakes, on the Geffen label. So, and sealed. My brother got it. I'm like, yeah, that is kind of interesting. On the Threshold of a Dream, Moody Blues. So this one was $4. I didn't spend $4. This is really a clean copy of this album, which I never seem to get. I get beat up copies of this. And rest in peace, John Lodge, who just passed away not that long ago. And on the Darum label. This is an album that really is kind of an interesting record by the Moody Blues, where they actually had some time to explore in the studio, and they came up with a really interesting album, not a rushed album either. So songs like Dear Diary is a weird track on here. So Deep Within You. Of course, Never Comes the Day is a great song on here. Um, Lazy Days, another really cool song in here. Some of this rocks out. Some of this is like on the heavy, like psych side and art rockish side of, uh, or even almost dare I say avant-garde side of the Moody Blues. But this is one for the fans of Moody Blues know this is a good one. But for the people who are just coming into this band, this is one not to sleep on. This is a great record by the Moody Blues. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I'm not going to say much. What am I going to say here, huh? Oh, I just got it because it's very clean, and my brother picked it up for $1. I was not going to just let it sit there. It's a classic album. I'm not going to say anything about this. I mean, really, seriously, like, what am I going to say about this album? It's an absolute rock and roll classic. 1973 it came out. This one is cool, but it's only one part of Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti. It's not even the full cover. My brother got it for me. I'm like, well, it's missing the other side in the cover. But this is sides 3 and 4. And it's beat up. I don't know. I figured I'd show this just because it's goofy looking. So, Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti. Alrighty, we're getting into the nitty and gritty, guys. I'm getting through this real fast. Now this is actually, I did not think I was going to go through this so fast. Yes, songs. This one was $3. My brother's like, you got any into this stuff? He'll buy records for me at record shows that I don't want. But I just like, sure, I'll turn around and sell it for like $2-3. This is the live double or triple live album, recorded from the tours of Close to the Edge and Fragile. It's good. I love the live version of All Good People on here. I like the log version of Heart of the Sunrise on here. There's some good songs on here. It's good. It's good stuff. And the records are actually in pretty good shape on the Atlantic label. I mean, some of them got scratches, so I might actually just put $1 on this and lose $1 when I resell it. Yeah. Yes, it's good stuff. I mean, this is common. This isn't anything we need to talk about. That's why I don't really want to go through this. The Cosmic Cowboy, Michael Murphy, and Swans Against the Sun, 1975 release off the CBS label. What do you want to say about Michael Murphy? He's the Cosmic Cowboy. Of course, the country folk pop with a real psychedelic kind of feel at times, hence Cosmic Cowboy. They had the big hit Wildfire. He changed his name to Michael Martin Murphy and sang some shitty ass 80s country. But in the 70s, he was quite good. This is actually pretty good stuff. Some good songs on here. Swans Against the Sun, Renegade. He does a duet really with John Denver on here, a song called Mansions on the Hill, which is an old Hank Williams song. So this is good stuff. It was $3. It's like progressive bluegrass in Tim Ware, in the Tim Ware group. On the Kaleidoscope label. So this is really interesting. I'm not sure how you would describe this. I mean, obviously, if you're looking at it and you're thinking ensemble-wise, it's going to be bluegrass. It is very progressive bluegrass, and to the progressive extreme where it's almost arty-ish, like avant-garde-ish, because it's got a rock feel to it. It's like they're trying to be a rock band, but they're not. The wrong instrumentation is in this. Special appearances in this with David Grisham, with Daryl Anger, with Mike Marshall. This is wonderful stuff. This is really, really good stuff. And the song Spiral Moons on here is fucking awesome. That's really the song on here. But Turkish Tango is really good as well. So, yeah, this is one I would definitely recommend, highly recommend to people who want to get into Tim Ware group. The Tim Ware group. Mental as Anything, New Zealand band, I believe, with Mouth to Mouth. This came out in 1987, and it does very much sound like the product of its time. This band has like kind of a combination of, it's like pop, new wave, but it's kind of irreverent in a way. Pretty good songwriting on here. The songs are really catchy, like My Door's Always Open to You. He's Just No Good for You is great on here. Mouth to Mouth is great on here. Wandering Through Heaven. Is this New Zealand or Australia? One of the two, but kind of a combination of Nick Lowe's pop stuff meets Squeeze. It's really good. It's really thinking, sort of thinking man's kind of thing. But this album in particular is very, very poppy. And I was like, I've been looking for some Mental as Anything, and now I got it. And this was $3. So this band had been around for a while. They had been around probably since the early 80s, I would say. And this is an 87 release, so one of their later releases. Yeah, I'm getting tired, guys. Speaking of 80s, this is some good stuff, too. Meet Danny Wilson. And this is self-titled. And this is... not self-titled. This is Meet Danny Wilson by the band Danny Wilson. This is what I call Sophie pop, and Sophie meaning sophisticated, and a shortened term for it. And this came out in 1987 on the Virgin label, and I don't really, I mean, this has really, really nice songs, really nice melodies in it. I mean, this could be thrown in with like Blue Nile to Simply Red to Johnny Hates Jazz, in that realm of sophisticated pop. Not quite as like, I think a little bit more nuanced than like Breathe, that band Breathe, Hands to Heaven, that kind of shit. But still really good. Kind of, to me, like indie, but they're not indie, but alternative in a way, pop music, sophisticated pop music if possible. With the big hit on here is Mary's Prayer. There's a few really good songs on here. You Remain an Angel is great. A Girl I Used to Know is wonderful on here. It's just really appealing, charming, sophisticated pop music from the 80s. Danny Wilson was good stuff. Good stuff. So this is Meet Danny Wilson. I believe their first album. Of course, Mary's Prayer, that song is wonderful, wonderful. This is Pyrolator. And this is Wonderland. And I'm not even sure how you describe Pyrolator. German artist, electronic, experimental, I think, but not in the harshness of experimental, more like in the soundscapes and stuff like that. It's just fucking weird. Really weird. Really weird stuff. Trying to think when this came out. 2013. So Pyrolator. On this real thick 180 gram vinyl. This one was $3 too. So this was kind of maybe more of a steal for me. If you haven't heard of Pyrolator. German artist, like I said. Electronic music. It's experimental, but in a way where it's quirky. This kind of reminds me a little bit of 80s Telex or the wonderful Art of Noise that came out in the 80s. So, good stuff. Pyrolator with Wonderland. This is wonderful. Like this one right here, I only got a few left and we're going to be done with this pile. This is Fabrique with the album is Fabrique by the band Fashion, a British band. Fashion. This came out in the early 80s. This is an absolute wonderful record. Going back to that sort of sophisticated pop that I was just talking about with, like Danny's Prayer. This is more like in line with kind of more like art rock, though, instead of sophisticated pop. It has like an art rock thing. It's obviously, I think this band is somewhat influenced by Roxy Music, I would say. But this is absolutely wonderful. This kind of reminds me of like, it has some funk and dance elements to it. It kind of reminds me like of a pre-Dan Reed network. But I don't know if it's that funky, but there's something about this that is absolutely irresistible. And this is a high recommend for me, this band Fashion. Really, really cool. I mean, when I bought it, like looking at this cover, I don't know what to expect from this. And look at the back of that. So I'm thinking gothic rock, maybe, but it's not. But these guys would even be comparable to the wonderful Shriekback, would be another thing. There is a bit of a dance groove thing going on. It's arty too. It's definitely rock at times too. This is wonderful. 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 This is like one of my favorite things I picked up at that show. I mean, I got a lot of cool shit, but that's definitely at the top of the list. So, yes, Fashion by Frabeek. Fashion is the name of the band. The album is Frabeek. There's a few really good songs on here. Something in Your Picture is absolutely beautiful. Song that I think they played in Miami Vice. One of their songs on this album was played on Miami Vice, the TV show. So, yeah, this one I really, really highly recommend. Ted Nugent, Weekend Warriors. Okay, so I have this. My brother, once again, picked it up for me. So I got it for $6, which I think is more than what I would pay for this. But my brother's like dead set on like, you gotta get it. And it is a very clean copy of this. 78 released by Ted, Uncle Ted. I don't know why it says Wango Tango. It's not. It is Weekend Warriors. And the inside of here. This is a cool album by him. I really like how subdued it is. It's like taking all the boogie and all the like kind of maniacal, like high energy stuff he does and just makes a straightforward rock album. Take out the boogie and all that shit and you have like just a straightforward, not even an arena album, just a straightforward rock album. And it's got a different sound on this. Songs like Tight Spots, Need You Bad is great. My favorite song on here is Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine. It is absolutely terrific. But there's a directness about this album that I really kind of appreciate. And it doesn't feel as over the top as some of Ted Nugent's albums. And I love the over the topness, don't get me wrong, but this has a kind of a more subdued, like I said, straightforward rock attack on it. It's quite good. Three left. This is The Instigators. Not the. I was thinking this was another band, but this is The Instigators with Shotgun. And this has kind of an Agent Orange feel to it. It's considered like street, but it's not. It's just like old school hardcore punk, but more melodic. It's got more of a melodic side to it, and not quite that nasty, but kind of more like Agent Orange-ish to me, or 7 Seconds, maybe a little bit. I don't know. This is just wonderful. This is on the Flipside label. I think this came out in the 80s. Sealed. I was like, yeah, I'm on board with that. This, I couldn't find out anything about this, so I don't know what to expect. I think it's got kind of like an avant-garde sound to it. This is Methods of the Mad, and the album's called Before the Toast and Teas. So this has like trombone, electric guitar. I think this is like indie rock with a indie folk or indie rock with an experimental edge to it. I think I'm going to say the guy who was in Methods of the Mad was in another band. that was more kind of straight up indie rock maybe. But I don't know enough about Methods of the Mad to tell you any different. I'm just taking a blind stab. This was $7. I was like, fuck it. If I don't like it, I could always trade it. And the last thing I want to show you that I picked up from, oh shit, I got more, but I'm not going to have time to show it. Jesus Christ. Last thing I'll show you from the Sarasota Record show is something that I picked up fairly cheap, but actually, you know what? It was $8, so why not? This is Jesters of Destiny with Fun at the Funeral, and this is fucking batshit. This is absolutely fucking nuts, in the best possible way. It's a streamlined sort of stoner hard rock metal sound from the '80s. I would say more kind of metal, like a stoner metal, but not completely stoner either, like metal sound. And it's fucking great. This kind of is like pre-Mentors to me, in a way. And Sicky Wifebeater, who was in the Mentors, is actually in this band, along with Bruce Duff, who worked with 45 Grave and Red Cross, and John Truby as well. This is wonderful. Kind of dumb, fun, like sort of sleazy metal. Jesters of Destiny. I would definitely be picking up more by this band. It says stoner rock, but it really isn't. It's kind of like just sleazy sort of like hard rock metal from the 80s. It's fucking wonderful. This is the kind of thing I live for. And that is it for the Sarasota show. I do got some 45s. I don't know if I'm going to show those today. I'd kind of like to show you what I got at Jerk Dog, because I didn't get a ton there, but I got some stuff there. So I will go ahead and show you that, and hopefully this will only be 10 minutes and it'll be done. Dan Fogelberg's Greatest Hits. It's $1. I get it, but I picked it up anyways. No rhyme or reason. It's just something I like to listen to in the winter because it's got like Same Old Lang Syne and Leader of the Band on it. And I'm a fan of Dan Fogelberg, soft rock. It's got all his hits from the early 80s. James Brown, Funky People. This is off the People label. This was $3. So this is artists that are off his label. This is 70s soul and funk, and it's great. Artists like the JBs, Lynn Collins, Fred Wesley. Yeah, that's what that is. So it's really cool. I mean, it's the early 70s soul funk stuff. I mean, I don't really have a lot of this on cassette. The price was right. I was looking for, oh, there it is. Jayhawks Hollywood Town Hall. This is a 92 release off of Deaf American, and I don't really need to say a lot about this. Alt rock, alt country rock from the 90s. I'm a big fan of this band. There's something very lackadaisical in the listening approach to me, meaning like I just don't, it's just something I can put on and not have to think about, you know. And not that they don't have anything intellectual to say, but to me this is like laid back kind of music. I like the Jayhawks. So this is probably the first Jayhawks record I had heard. This one was $4 on cassette. Let's see, what else do we got here? This one, I'm not sure what this is. This one was $10, and I think it's samples and recordings. This was recorded live, and it's a sample tape. This was recorded live at Lucky Records in Tampa. So I think this is just like records that are set to beats, you know, hip hop stuff. recorded live at the Lucky's record store in Tampa. This one was $10. I love the packaging on it. Got me with that. I was a little bit more than $10 is getting to be kind of, I don't want to spend that much in records, but you know. Yeah. So the next one I'll show you real quick. I said I want to try to get this done soon. The next one I'll show you real quick is one that was given to me by the owner, and look at this. This is Titronic with Beneath the Ark, I believe is the name of this. But look at this shit. I don't even know how to get this out, but this is how the cassette was made. You see the band and Titronic on here. English band, kind of doom, avant-garde, glam, like mixing a bunch of different styles, kind of like the agriculture of doom metal. Like it's a hodgepodge of sound and styles, and I really hate this kind of shit. I'm so sick of it. I'm just tired of these bands like agriculture. I like them, but Jesus Christ, man! After a while, it's just like, are you black metal? Or you're not. I mean, give me a break, you know. I mean, I don't mind like black metal. I'm not a purist. So before you say anything, I'm not a purist. I just sometimes it gets so away from, and they still call it black metal because they have the vocals. It's not even, you know, like black metal, like agriculture. I would be hard pressed to call that black metal, but it's a variation of it. Fine. This is similar to Stoner Doom, a variation of it. So Titronic. And last but not least, this is Teenage Jesus and the Jerks. This one was $14. It's way more than I usually pay for a cassette. Reissue of her recordings. I don't think she ever made a studio album. If she did, this is it, off the Radiation label. New York band. I think James Chance was in this band. New York No Wave. So this is very noisy, deconstructed post-punk music, basically, from the 70s. I love Teenage Jesus and the Jerks. I'm a big fan of Lydia Lunch. I mean, it's not for everyone. Not everyone's going to like this, but I certainly do. Yeah, this was kind of a treat to myself. Some CDs, and we'll be off to our albums. I'm trying to get all this done, man. I'm trying to scoot through this quickly. Future Sounds of London with Dead Cities. And that's a good way to describe this, a concept album about the death of cities. And of course, this is an English band. Experimental, a little bit, electronic music mostly, using samples and stuff like that. Not industrial necessarily, but more on that. I wouldn't even say this was ambient or techno music that was like, but this is a more mature effort. There's a level of noise collections in this too, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what this is. Future Sounds of London with their album Dead Cities. This is really good, really good. Peter Gabriel, Us, his version of Blood on the Tracks, and it kind of is, 1992 release, and a album about a breakup with his wife, I believe, and this is what he wrote. So for some people, this is strangely, sort of, I guess, strangely, maybe for them and for him, cathartic that he wrote an album and made an album about fucking relationships, which he never does. This is the guy who did Salisbury Hill. Yeah, Shock the Monkey. But yeah, this is great. Still some sexual innuendos on this album. It's got a few of the big hits, Digging Up the Dirt and Steam, but still the sexual innuendo of the song called Kiss the Frog. And it's about a blowjob, basically, I believe. So still doing that, you know. His version of Sledgehammer is Kiss the Frog on here. Very funky and very cool song. So, cool stuff by Peter Gabriel. This one was $7. This is Raise Your Fist and Yell, Alice Cooper. This is wonderful. Probably the most expensive CD I've bought in weeks. Um, this is his follow-up to Constructor, and it's in the same vein. Kane Roberts on guitar, catchy sort of pop metal songs, basically. And this really kind of was leading up to his late 80s sort of masterpiece in this realm, an album called Trash, which is even more so in that vein. But this still, like, it's kind of hair metal, is what it is. It's got Freedom, which was the single on here, Give the Radio Back. The wonderful Chop Chop Chop. That song is so catchy. And this one was $7. I couldn't resist. I haven't seen this thing around in any kind of thing. This one was $3, but I'm just showing it now, that I picked up from Goodwill, and this is amazing. Four Seasons, Frankie Valli's Four Seasons box set. I just want to show you real quick, and I'm not going to go through each one because it's going to take forever, but this is basically a collection of all their studio albums. Everything from Sherry to Big Girls Don't Cry, Four Seasons, Ain't That a Shame, Folk Danny. I'm not going to go through all these. I will show you one in here that I think is super good, and I've talked about that before on here, if I can find it, and it's this wonderful album here called the Genuine Imitation Life Gazette. I've showed this before on here. Late 60s sort of psych pop album by this. This is a stunning record by them, in my opinion, and the best record I've ever heard by them. But this goes up to late 70s. Look at this, Street Fighter. Look at that. Street Fighter. The Streets Are Dangerous with Frankie Valli. And the last album I think that they did was this one right here called Hope and Glory. So, like I said, I didn't want to show all of them, but this was fucking $3 for 15 records. Like, look at all these. That's crazy. So, Four Seasons, kind of annoying at the beginning end. I kind of like what they're doing towards the back end of their career. Really, really good stuff. And unfortunately for me, I'm not going to be able to show everything I wanted to today because I got a bunch of 45s. I'm going to have to show it at an update down the road from here that I got from Sarasota. I just didn't have time. These two I kind of got together. I'm going to go through these real quick. One is a CD and the other is an album box set. And this is classic country music. This is a Smithsonian collection. So this is a 4 CD set selected and annotated by Bill Malone. Very important country historian Bill Malone, who wrote Country Music USA, which was first published in 1968. The first detailed book about country music in its history. So this is the CD set of this. I'm just going to show it to you real quick with a booklet in it. I'm not going to pull these out. This is everything from like the 1930s country all the way up to the Judds, so through the 80s. Now I want to show you something else I got for $3, and this one was cool too, and that is the Smithsonian Collection Country Music that I got from Goodwill for $3. And this is really cool because you can kind of pull this out like this. And this is a like 7-8 album box set. Bill Malone, once again, selected works. Everything from the everything from the early 20s, late 20s, early up to, I think, stuff from the late 70s. Yeah, this doesn't go past like the 70s on this one, so this one's even more cool for me. But just to show you what one of these records looks like. So there's like 8 of these in here. So yeah, I want to order that book for Christmas. Like, there's a real nice copy on Thrift Books for like $30. I'd like to get it and read it. So Bill Malone too was, I think he was a musician, but I thought this was really cool to get. Like history country. So you're going back to the Carter family up to Willie Nelson. Like, good nice timeline. So both of those were cool. Um, Jesus, I'm getting late with these. Take 10 with Ray Charles. Yeah, I just bought this because I don't really see Ray Charles stuff around very much on the Grand Prix label. Yeah, and clean copy of it. Now this I can sell, and this I'm really interested in hearing. I don't really see Ray Charles stuff out there that much anymore. That's weird because I just really don't see it out there. It's like all of a sudden it's become super rare for me to find his stuff. Although I'm not going into the Ray Charles section in every record store, so maybe that's it. So this is a compilation of stuff from the early '50s that he recorded. So two by Winston Marsalis, and this one is Think of One, which won Grammy album, Jazz Album of the Year, and just a year later he followed it up with this, which is him playing an album of classical music, which won Classical Album of the Year. So the first to do both. I would like to think these were in the same year, but I don't think they were. 83, and this one's saying 82. This has got some wonderful jazz on here. He's a great trumpeter, and the song Melancholia on here is just wonderful. And this is great classical music with where you can hear his trumpet in here. So once again, this is really, really good stuff. There's the Winton sandwich right there, but Beyond the Blue Horizon, George Benson. I was talking about how much I like George Benson stuff on CTI, and Doug said, well, I got this one for $10, and I said, I'll take it. You can see the CTI label. And I think this is one, if not the earliest albums on the CTI label that George did. If not, you know what? Somebody will probably correct me. Maybe it's not the first, but it's like a classic earlier album by him. And I like this stuff. It almost, to me, is like fusion or something. It doesn't have such a jazz sort of annoyance, which I can find on some jazz stuff. It's really like kind of direct. And it's kind of like if jazz was rock, just a direct jazz attack to me. Really good guitars. It almost sounds like Wes Montgomery guitar work on here, which of course I know is not the case. I think Jack DeJohnette is on here, amongst other people. I can't remember who else is on here. No, I'm gonna have to look. I can't remember who else is on here. Somebody else knows who's on this album, but I think Jack DeJohnette plays on this album, who played with Miles Davis. Two big albums left, so I got 4 albums left. I'm going to go through these real quick. Beer, Steers, and Queers. This fucking goofy record by Revolting Cocks. I don't got much to say. 1990 release. And yeah, this is just goofy industrial music with a sense of humor. And this was a birthday present. The next two after this are birthday presents. Megadeth, Killin's My Business. Business been good. Good. So I don't have anything to say about this. It's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. 2025 release off the Century Media label. Yeah, this is wonderful. And the first Megadeth album, it's got, of course, Last Rites on here, Skull Beneath the Skin, the goofy version of These Boots Are Made for Walking, which I kind of like. Rattlehead is great, Mechanics, Looking Down the Cross is great. This is just awesome thrash metal, and I'm happy to have this. Now I have the first 3 Megadeths on vinyl. Get Rest in Peace, and I'll be happy. These 2 were from Books A Million. These 2 are pretty common albums, so I won't go through them a lot. One my brother bought me for my birthday. The other one I bought for myself. I was just like, I got a discount card, so I've been wanting to get this even on CD, and I couldn't find it on CD, so I just bought it. David Bowie, The Man Who Sold the World, with the dress, which you don't really see that album. like that anymore hardly. So pretty cool that they showed the dress on here, which I bought originally on CD. This is pretty heavy album by him. It's just got some really good guitar work in here. It's got The Width of the Circle, All the Madmen, Black Country Rock. I love that song. Of course, the self-titled track is great. Running Gun Blues, She Shook Me Cold. This is kind of almost to me like a rock album by him. Like, you know, it definitely has some poeticness and all that kind of stuff. But like, if you want like more Ronson riffing, this is the way to go for me. Like, this is probably my favorite David Bowie album because of that. And this is an absolute class my brother got for me for my birthday. I don't need to say any more or less. Black Sabbath's self-titled album. Now I pretty much got most of Sabbath. I still got to get Masters of Reality, but I have a lot of the Sabbath I want. And of course, this has a bunch of bonus material on it as well. Outtakes, instrumentals, and stuff. So it's a double album. But you guys probably remember when I was a kid and you were a kid, that scared the fuck out of me, not knowing what the hell that was all about. And I remember looking at this album cover, studying it sometimes for hours, off and on, just looking at it, trying to figure it out. And it scared the fuck out of me as a little kid. The very first Black Sabbath album, I don't really need to go into it. It's got The Wizard, of course, Black Sabbath self-titled track, Beyond the Walls of Sleep, NIB, Sleeping Village, Warning, Wicked World, A Bit to Finger. I mean, this is great. Bluesy. This is on the bluesier end of things, but it's still fucking crushing as hell. So maybe the origin of heavy metal starts right here, right? And that's it. That's all I have for you. I have a bunch of 45s I wanted to show that I picked up at the Sarasota Record show, but I'm not going to have time. I will show that on an update down the road. I will, because there's some really cool punk 45s in there. I will show you guys. I'm not going to do a video till Spooky Empire, so this will be my last. That's why I'm trying to combine everything. I'm combining everything because it's going to be my last video till Spooky Empire. So Spooky Empire is coming up in next weekend, so I'll do an update video probably after that. So probably not this coming week, but the following week you'll get a video from me. But that'll be it. No, nothing between now and after the end of next week. I am done with music. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at all I showed you. And I haven't got a chance to listen to half of it yet. So take care. Thanks for watching. Extra long video today. So this is the Sarasota Record show pickups, everything except for the 45s, which I'll show later in my local record store and thrift store pickups. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Thank you for sitting in this long. I am winded. Bye.